Hello everyone, I'm Susan Boback and I'm the card connoisseur. I love paper crafting, and with the holiday season coming up, I decided to focus on tree type designs this year. I just love trees. I love trees throughout the 4 seasons that we have in the Upper Great Lakes region here. We just finished fall and we're coming into winter, although you wouldn't really know it looking out today. We had a snowstorm on Sunday and Monday, and now it's 48 degrees and you can see the beautiful green grass. So wherever you're watching from, I welcome you, and let's get started. I'd like to show you, I guess first I want to ask you, what do you do with your paper scraps? Now, this is from many years of the beautiful designer series paper from Stampin' Up. Although I am a demonstrator, I just love paper of all sorts. And so first question for you then is, what do you do with your paper scraps? Now, these are 2x6 pieces. Some are larger, some are smaller. And I'd like to suggest to you, if you don't have a plan for what would be considered scraps, or even your big 12x12 pieces or 6x6s, if it's the end of the season and you no longer used up all your papers, first what I'd like you to do is to sort it by color. Now, these are various colors, but I have sorted these by sizes. But what I suggest for you to do is to sort them out by color. It's no longer necessary for you to leave them in fall patterns or Valentine's Day or Easter or Christmas. You can sort them according to patterns. And that's what we're going to be doing with today. I'm going to show you how you can take an assortment of scrap paper and turn them into a beautiful card, something like this. Now, I like making strip cards, and if you've never made a strip card, it's where you would take some cardstock and you would either add tear and tape around the outside and throughout the middle, or you would just add glue on the back of each strip as you put them together. And so with a strip card, you're just adding pieces, strips of paper that go every which way, and then you're gluing them down, and then you're going to trim this down and layer it on a card. But how I've made this card is I've started out with a card shape like this. Now, let me zoom this in so you can see how you can take your strips of paper and with a little creative cutting a triangle, you can end up with a design like this. So let me zoom this in for you then. And I'm using the Stampin' Up paper trimmer. So whatever you have, you of course have to get to know your equipment just like I have to know mine. And so I think it's easy to cut a triangle in the middle of the paper using this paper trimmer. So on your piece of paper now, right here on white cardstock, I have the regular size for what's called an A2 card in the United States, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so once we get this made, like we have here, I'm going to trim it down, but we're going to start out with this size. And to get the triangle that you're going to cut out in the middle, I found the half point. So you can see here, the half top point here is 2 1/8. That's half of 4 1/4. So I made a little notch right there. Then I went down, okay, if I came down 1 3/4 at the half point, then I want to go up 1 3/4 from the bottom. But first I wanted to decide how wide did I want my triangle. Excuse me. So I went in about 1 inch to 1 1/8 inch on each side. You can see here that my arrow says in. I don't know, do you need to take a screenshot here? So 1 3/4 up, just like 1 3/4 down. I made a little notch at 1 1/8 inch in, and then I cut it on my paper trimmer. And if you'd like to know how to do that on this trimmer, maybe you have one that's similar. I first measured down the 1 3/4. So I lined it up like this and measured down, and at about the half point, I made a little notch. And so then how you would make this cut here is you would put that little notch right in this paper trough, okay? And then down here at the 1 1/8, you would line that up. And this is what I mean by this. In this opening of this paper trimmer, you can see those marks, those little notches that you made. And you want to put that right in the paper trimmer. I don't know if you can see that there, but you're putting the top of it in this trough here, and you're putting the bottom of it down here. And then you're going to take your blade, and then you're going to cut it like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to put this top notch right in line in this trough here. And then you're going to tip it in a way that this point down here will be in this trough, okay? And so then you're going to put it there, and you'll know if it's right because you'll be able to see it right in here. Now, a trick that I have gotten into with this particular trimmer is I put my finger right where I would cut so that I catch the paper guide, so that if I'm meaning to score instead of cut, it's a reminder to me when my finger catches this paper guide that I better not be using my cutting blade when I want to be scoring. So find a way to remind yourself each time. If you've cut the last piece of paper you have for a design when you should have been scoring, you're not alone. We've all done it. So now, as I said, I have the top mark in the trough. I have the bottom mark here. And I'm going to put my cutting blade. You can look at this guide across here and put it approximately where you think it needs to go, and then just cut it up to the top point. Now, if you find, like I did, that you weren't able to cut it exactly right up to the point, you can just take your scissors and cut it there, and then cut it here. Now, just for the sake of this demonstration, I haven't cut the triangle out. But on the card, you can also either take your scissors and cut straight across here, or you can use your paper trimmer if you're confident that you can line it up and cut it. You know, this is art, and we're making a design about nature, so it's not meant to be perfectly. So let me hold that up again in case you want to take a screenshot of these measurements. So without this piece here, you would end up with something like this. Now, here's how it looks on the back. And remember, this is going to be covered up. You're not going to be opening your card and seeing this on the inside. And then what I did for this size or this gauge of triangle, I cut my strips of paper in 3/8 or 1/4 of an inch even. So remember, you have a pile of paper. You can cut these green shades of green, as you can see here, in 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch. Some of these are a little bigger. Now, what you're going to do then is you're going to take some tear and tape, or double-sided tape I find works the best. And you're going to place it around the 3 sides of the triangle, right up against the edge of the opening. And then you're just going to get creative. And I think it works best if you don't keep flipping over to see if it looks all right. Remember, this is art. So you can see that I just took the different strips of paper, laid them every which way across that opening. At the very end, I did open it, and you can see there's a little bit of a light that's shown through here. If you happen to have any spaces that are larger than just a little crack, you can take another piece like I've done here and place it over where you think that open space is. And then you would take just a dab of your glue and glue it down. Then after you're sure you're done, you're going to trim off the pieces off the side. This piece will be gone. And then you're going to trim it down for your layer on your card. Now, what I did on this one was I have a few embossing folders that I only use during the holidays. And it was really a trial. I thought, should I use something that looks like a tree? Should I use my poinsettias in the background? And I decided to use the music staff. So then, but what I did here, if you want to emboss it, you have 2 choices, of course. You can emboss your white layer before you do the strips of paper, or you could wait till afterwards and emboss the whole thing. I'd actually like to try it both ways. So you might see a finished card that I've made with this where I've embossed the whole thing. And then how I've added the bling to it is these are adhesive back. Let's see, where do I have those? Adhesive back bling from the Stampin' Up! Catalog. Some of them are current, some of them are older. I have these snowflakes, I have stars, I have these little, from last year that look like little mints. Some are more raised up, I guess you could say, than others. And I'm not really fond of putting something on that leaves a lump in the envelope, because I don't want to pay extra postage. And I don't want to take the chance that when I put it through the mail and I didn't add the extra postage, that whoever receives it is going to have to pay the extra postage. And then I want to tell you too that if you don't have anything like this, you can take just a regular paper punch, the kind that you would use to punch a hole and put a piece of ribbon through. You can take just a regular paper punch, find some metallic paper or some pretty print that you like, that you think would stand out, and punch it, and then just put a dab of glue on the back. So you can see what I've done here. I've added the red and the gold, and I will probably put a sentiment across that says Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or something like that. And then I will layer this either on a red card or a white card. So that's how you can take your pieces of paper that are from all different seasons and cut them up and then keep them for either quilt cards, strip cards, or something like this. Now, I hope that you would like to try this with some of your extra pieces. Thanks for watching now, and go get creative.